Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Pags and Pinstripe podcast. Very excited that we are kicking this off to talk some Yankees baseball. I know it's been a long time with the coronavirus, and we haven't seen baseball in a long time, so I figured why not start a podcast and talk about some Pinstripes. Exciting season ahead, I think, for us. We're all kind of looking forward to baseball and some kind of normalcy. So hopefully that's something we can all look forward to. This podcast is going to talk a lot about the Yankees, but we're also going to talk about some baseball throughout the season. But mostly, we're going to talk about our beloved Pinstripes. So if you're a Yankee fan, I encourage you to jump on, and hopefully you can spend some time with us as we talk Yankees baseball. Before we get started, I want to talk about some of the things that have happened in baseball just this year and in 2020. It's been really a brutal year for baseball as far as deaths go. Obviously, the first one that I want to talk about, a legend in the game, Hank Aaron. Losing Hank Aaron is really a tragedy for baseball. I mean, when I think of baseball, one of the first names that pops in my head is Hank Aaron, right behind probably Babe Ruth. To me, the all-time home run leader. He'll forever be the all-time home run leader. The things that he had to go through when he was in the home run chase was really tragic. I mean, for a guy to go through his career and have to hear the things that he heard from racial tensions and that kind of stuff at the time, very, very difficult. And as we are in the day and age now, we would think that will be gone, but obviously, as we've seen, that's still a problem in America right now. And this is not the podcast that they really go into and talk about it. But I do ask that let's be more friendly to folks. The color of your skin in 2021 shouldn't matter, whether it's baseball or in work or in school or in life. So Hank Aaron, rest in peace. He'll be missed for sure. I know I'll miss him a couple of times in Cooperstown. I got a chance to meet him. My favorite story is we were hanging out behind the Cooperstown field, and they were getting ready for the parade. And he came in on a cart, and I said hello to him. He greeted me, very friendly, like we knew each other. Said hello, and then we went on our way. So that was a special moment for me. Hopefully, you guys have had some opportunities as well with either Hank Aaron or other players throughout the years. So just to talk about some of the other deaths that occurred in 2020. 2020 really a brutal year for baseball deaths. You go down the list: Joe Morgan, Tom Seaver, Al Kaline, Bob Gibson, Lou Brock. These gentlemen are behemoths in the game of baseball. These are all guys that we would see in Cooperstown, and unfortunately, we're not going to have that opportunity to see them anymore. And you take that for granted. You take it for granted that they're going to be there year in and year out. So make sure you don't take people for granted, whether it's baseball players or your own family members. Life is short, especially nowadays. So sad to see those guys go. In 2020, it kind of continued. We lost Tommy Lasorda and Don Sutton. Hank Aaron also in 2021. But the Yankee family also lost some names in 2020 and 2021, and some big names at that. Phil Lintz, he's gone for the Yankees. We're sorry to hear he's gone. Nuxie, Phil Niekro, the great knuckleballer. We lost him in 2020. And also in 2020, Whitey Ford, the chairman of the board. So some names there that, behemoths, huge names in Yankee baseball. They're gone, so rest in peace. And hopefully the Yankees will make you proud as we move forward. So, a lot of us fans were kind of waiting. We're waiting for Christmas Day to see what would happen. What are the Yankees going to do? What's going to happen? We all knew there was a lot of needs. The biggest needs for the Yankees was starting pitching. Starting pitching is always an issue. And the Yankees were kind of quiet for a while. The big name on the market for them was re-signing DJ LeMahieu. That was something that the Yankees have been talking about, forever. And a lot of those fans wanted DJ back. We needed him back because that was really the only thing that was really keeping us going with the numbers. If you look at his postseason numbers, hitting 281 last year, no home runs and 4 RBI in the postseason. His 2020 stats were phenomenal: a 364 batting average, 10 home runs, and 27 RBI. He led the majors in a short season, and luckily the Yankees were able to do the right thing and re-sign him for a 6-year, $90 million deal, which I think personally is a bargain. Getting him for 6 years is great. Getting him for $90 million is really nothing for the Yankees. For me, that's a lot of money, but for everybody else, for the Yankees, that's a great deal. I think they really did a great job making that signing, and it's going to help us tremendously over the next 6 years. Pitching has always been the issue, and we needed pitching again. So the Yankees went out and did their thing, and they got some pitchers. They ended up adding Corey Kluber. If you look at his stats throughout the years, you'll see that he started off hot in 2013, 11-5, and then 2014 and 18-9. Respectable ERAs in both of those years, 3.85, a little high, and then 2.44 in 2014. Dropped down in 2015 to 9-16, and then his stellar years of 18-9, 18-4, and in 2018, 20-7. Stellar ERA those years, 3.14, and it just continued to kind of drop, 2.25 and 2.89 in those 2 years. With Corey Kluber, we're adding the 3-time All-Star, a 2-year Cy Young Award winner. He's 98-58 from 2011 to 2018. He ranks third in career ERA behind the guys that are current right now. Those 2 guys he's behind is Clayton Kershaw and Chris Sale. So we're getting a stellar player. The question is, can he stay healthy? That's the big question in both of the Yankees signings as far as the pitching goes. They've signed 2 guys, and we'll talk about the next one in a second. But they signed 2 guys who are coming off significant injuries. So the question is, there's a big risk there. There's a big risk whether these arms will hold up. If they hold up, the rotation's looking pretty good, in my opinion. We'll take a look at that further. So the quote that came out of Kluber once he signed, quote, "One of my most important criteria when looking for a team was trying to identify a team that was a contender for a World Series." Well, I think he did that with the Yankees. We're definitely contenders for the World Series. And if we can get the arms that we needed, which we signed, and they stay healthy, this is going to be a dangerous team. So the next guy that the Yankees went out and got from the Pittsburgh Pirates in a trade was Jameson Taillon. Taillon, again, phenomenal player, injury prone. He was a Pirates' second overall pick in 2011. He's got a great fastball, good curveball. He had Tommy John surgery twice, not once, but twice. That's definitely a concern, obviously. But then on the other side of it, Tommy John surgery strengthens your arm. So is he going to have the robotic arm after 2 Tommy John surgeries, or is he going to continue to be injury prone? That's the $1 million question, and that's what the Yankees are hoping that they've taken a risk with these 2 guys, but they're hoping that their risk pays off. Kind of reuniting 2 pitchers. Garrett Cole and Taillon pitched together in Pittsburgh. The 2016-17 season was a bad one for the Pirates, so it's hard to judge them on that. But in 4 seasons, he's 29-24 with a 3.67 ERA. Look at the timeline here. In 2014, he had Tommy John surgery. 2015, he was out with a sports hernia. In 2017, unfortunately, he got cancer. It was testicular cancer. He fought that. He was 8-7 in that year with a 4.44 ERA. And then in 2018, he pitched a full season, went 14-10 with a 3.2 ERA. And then in 2019, he had a forearm injury. He had surgery for that, and then they had to go back in and take care of some other issues that he had. So 2 guys here that very injury prone. The risk reward is one of those things where the risk is high, but the reward could be even higher. So the Yankees went out and really solidified 2 spots number 1 and 2 in the rotation. I mean, I would imagine we're going to have a pretty good rotation once we look at the rest of the guys here. But we'll talk about that in a second. The other guy the Yankees went out and got, Darren O'Day. He played for the Atlanta Braves. Last year he was 4-0. He had a 1.1 ERA. In his career, he's 40-19. He's played 7 years in Baltimore, Texas, Atlanta, the Mets, the Los Angeles Angels. He's kind of jumped around. has a career ERA of 2.51. He's a sidearmer, so that's something that's different for the Yankees. Something that you're not gonna see a lot. So you got that guy coming out of the bullpen in a pretty deep bullpen for the Yankees. I think that's one of the strengths for the Yankees, the bullpen. So hopefully that'll continue to be a strength for the Yankees. One of the guys that the Yankees decided not to re-sign, Masahiro Tanaka. So Tanaka, the negotiations were ongoing. We just heard a couple of days ago that kind of fell through. And now he went back to Japan. He went back to his old team. Is that a big loss for the Yankees? I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about Tanaka and whether they should re-sign him. You look at his career stats with the Yankees. Last year 3-3, a 3.56 ERA. Over the course of his career, he had a 78-46 record with an ERA of 3.74. I don't think this is something that necessarily hurts the Yankees, but I would have liked them to see them hang on to him, kind of as an insurance package just in case things don't work out with their other two guys. But they had to do this. It was a money deal. It was a money issue, basically. Getting rid of Tanaka enabled them to get two other pitchers. So that it was really a 2-for-1 deal. Letting Tanaka go gave them the opportunity to go after two bigger pitchers with Talion and what was the other guy's name? Just lost my train of thought for a second. And Kluber. So a 2-for-1 deal. I like Tanaka, but the last couple of years he really hasn't performed as much as we needed him to. I think he's kind of heading on a downward slide of his career. So maybe it was time for the Yankees to part ways with him. So with that, we thank you, Masa. We thank you for being a Yankee. We thank you for everything you've done. I know there's a lot of fans out there that really love Masahiro Tanaka, myself included. I think he had a great career with the Yankees. Did some great stuff with us. Very appreciative of his services. And, once a Yankee, always a Yankee. Good luck in Japan. We hope that everything goes well. And we'll hope to see you back at Yankee Stadium for Old Timers Day. So that brings us to the rest of the lineup. When we talk about the rest of the lineup, what is our starting pitcher going to look like? Well, we got some guys already solidified in that area. I mean, with the two acquisitions, those guys should be slotted right 1, 2, and 3 behind Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole last year 7-3 in the shortened season, at 2.84 ERA. So assuming everybody's healthy, we go with Garrett Cole, Corey Kluber, and Jamison Talion. 3 formidable pitchers right there. That's if those guys are healthy, that's a heck of a rotation. How do we fill in the rest of that rotation? The other two guys. Well, we got Jordan Montgomery, we got Domingo Germán, Deivi Garcia, and Clark Schmidt. I think those are the 3 guys that are 4 guys. I'm sorry that will be kind of vying for those final couple spots in the rotation. We also got Michael King, which I don't think he's gonna slot into the rotation at all. And then we got Luis Severino. We'll talk about Severino where he fits in this mix, but I think right now Severino's going to be out for a while. We heard a little bit from Cashman and Boone about where he is as far as his progress. He's returning from Tommy John surgery, so again, we don't know. We're hearing now the end of July, which is further than we imagined, what we thought originally. So that concerns me. That means something's not going right. Something's not going as quickly as they thought. They expected him sooner. Maybe we'll see him in the bullpen, but I would expect one of these 4 guys to make the rotation. Probably Jordan Montgomery and Clark Schmidt, in my opinion. But Deivi Garcia and Domingo Germán certainly, great guys to fit into the rotation there as well. So on Severino, we look at his stats over the last couple of years. In 2015 it was 5-3, a 2.89 ERA. In 16 it was 3-8 with a 5.83 ERA. 17 and 18 were his better years. He was 14-6, 19-8. ERA in those years respectively 2.98 and 3.39. In 2019 it was a 1-1. He was with a 1.50 ERA. Got injured. Was out for 2020. So with Severino, we don't know. I mean, and that puts us in a tough position because we got now 3 guys that we're looking at that they're Kluber, Severino, and Talion. Who knows what that means? And having 3 guys as question marks could be scary. Is very scary. We're going to need those 2 guys. We're going to need all 3 of these guys. So hopefully they're going to stay healthy. Hopefully Severino comes back strong. Late in the year, we'll get him back. I mean, we could put him in the bullpen. That's a positive for the Yankees. So we'll see how that goes. Everyone's favorite player, Brett Gardner. Still right now, negotiations are ongoing with the Yankees, whether or not he's going to return. The Yankees are very heavy in the outfield position. I just don't see where Gardner is going to fit into the mix. I know he's a good clubhouse guy. Love him as a clubhouse guy. Would love to have him back as a clubhouse guy for the Yankees. But as a business decision, I don't think Gardner fits into the mix. I think it's time to let go for Gardner, and that's a tough sell because he's a fan favorite. The Yankees love him. I mean, they love him in the locker room. But I just don't think he can help us on the field with all the outfielders that we have, on the roster right now. We also picked up another outfielder from the Padres. That's Greg Allen. He came over from a trade. Now Allen is a switch hitter, which helps us a little bit because we don't have a lot of left-handed bats in the Yankee lineup. The only left-handed bat is Hicks. So having another left-handed bat helps us. It gives us a little more outfield depth if we need it. But again, we got a lot of outfielders. I don't see where Brett Gardner is going to fit into the mix, but we'll wait to see. Hopefully, the next couple of days or weeks, we'll find out where we are with Gardner. So that brings us to our lineup. I think this is our strong suit. When you look at the lineup, this is what we're looking at right now. You see people mix it up a little bit, but I think we're really kind of close as to what this lineup might look like for 2021. Obviously, at second base, we'll have LeMahieu leading off. In right field, Aaron Judge, obviously. The center fielder will be, I imagine it's going to be Hicks. You got Tauchman, you got Tyler Wade, and Greg Allen, who are also possibilities. I think they're going to go with Hicks there. Your DH will be Stanton. Your first baseman is going to be Voit. At shortstop, obviously, you're going to go with Gleyber Torres. The catching spot, that's something that we got to talk about. But I think the Yankees will probably go with Sanchez. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And obviously at third base, we'll have Urshela. And then in left field, I mean, I would imagine we're going to go with Frazier. But again, you have that possibility of mixing up a bit and maybe bringing Allen in that spot. But I think that's the lineup for the Yankees. The only spot that I think is a little bit flexible is at the catching spot. But I also think, when you look at that lineup, it's a great lineup. It's a great lineup, no question about it. But I think there's holes in that lineup. I think, there's better center fielders out there than Hicks. So I don't think that's a great spot. If you look at the lineup, that's one of our weaknesses, I think, with Hicks. I also think, obviously, Sanchez is an area that we can improve on. So those are the two areas that I would say would need the most improvement in the lineup. The Gary Sanchez situation. Obviously, everybody knows he was benched in the playoffs last year. So his postseason stats, 278 average, 1 home run, 2 RBI. His 2020 stats, not actually worse, 250, 4 home runs, 20 RBI. And Kyle, I don't want to destroy his last name. We'll call him Kyle H., the catcher. Higashioka, that's my best bet with that one. You look at his stats for last year. I mean, not much better on his side either. Actually, I mixed it up. The Sanchez postseason numbers are 125, 1 home run, 3 RBI, and his 2020 stats are 147 with 10 home runs, 24 RBI. The 278 is Kyle's. Obviously, better numbers. On this career side for Gary Sanchez, 236 hitter, 115 home runs, 286 RBI. But his defense has been horrible. And his defense has been a problem from the beginning. It hasn't gotten better, in my opinion. Big liability there for me. He can't hit right now. He can't field. Maybe we go with Kyle, but we got to get a catcher. I'm sorry, Gary Sanchez, your time is up, I think, in New York. We got to find somebody better. I wouldn't mind having Molina come out and kind of, mix it up a little bit. But right now, I think they're going to go with Gary Sanchez. If he struggles, I think he's out of there. I think Kyle comes in and catches for him. But I think the Yankees are in the market for a catcher. And if there's something out there, I think the Yankees are going to jump on it. A lot of things that came out with Cashman. There were some tensions with him about the catching situation. But first, let's talk about what he had to say about the lineup, about the roster, about what he was able to do with this lineup. One of the first things he said, I'm not sure if the roster is ever complete. We are ready to go with what we have. we've got quality at all positions. Well, I disagree. I don't think we got quality, the best quality at the catching spot. I also don't think we got the best quality with Hicks. But Hicks is okay. We can survive with that. I don't think we could survive with Gary Sanchez. And then the last thing Cashman said, we're always open to evaluating opportunities as they present themselves. There's never any doors closed. One of the things he did say that, the guys that are out there right now, he didn't think they were an upgrade over what we had. So I think they're in the market. They're looking, and they're gonna pounce on the right opportunity. I just think the right opportunity doesn't present itself yet. But I think Cashman is definitely on the lookout. One of the big things that came out from Gary Sanchez. So Gary Sanchez came out. He questioned why he was benched. I don't know how he could bench and how he got benched. His numbers were horrible. His defense was horrible. Here's what Cashman had to say. Pretty strong words coming from Cashman. I think the whole world knows why he was benched. It's pretty much self-awareness at that point. So Cashman, you had a horrible year on both sides of the ball. You lost your job in the most important time of the season, which is October baseball. I'm not sure if there is an explanation necessary. Your play speaks for itself, and you either play well enough to keep playing or you don't. Whether you're told directly, I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying he was. I don't really care. Harsh words for Cashman, basically telling Sanchez, listen, you lost your starting job. You know why? You didn't play well. Sanchez needs to own it, and I think he's the type of player who obviously takes it hard, wants to get better. But this catching position is not yours, Gary. It's one of those ones where you're gonna have to earn it. And I think he's gonna be in the spotlight all year. If he continues to struggle, I think you're going to see some changes in that area for the Yankees. So the last thing I want to touch on before we kind of depart for this first podcast is some of the things that we've seen happen in the last couple of days. A lot of movement in Major League Baseball. Hot stove season starting. We're ready to go. Opening day will be here before you know it. Biggest changes that we've seen so far from Francisco Lindor goes to the Mets. Big move for the Mets. I think they're trying to make a name for themselves. New owner in the Coens. They also just hit some bad news where they had to release their GM after he had some issues. And then they had this whole issue with the stock market and them taking a possible hit. But Francisco Lindor, great move for the Mets. I think it's going to help them a lot. I think the Mets are going to be a better team. Will they be competitive in the NL? I think so. I think they're going to be a good team. Great player on Lindor. I think it's a great move for the Mets. Unfortunately for the Indians, they lose another great player. On the other side, in the AL East, Toronto gets stronger. They signed George Springer. That's going to make the AL East that much better. That Toronto team is loaded with Biggio, with Guerrero, and now Springer. That's a formidable lineup. I think they're going to compete in the AL East. They're going to give the Yankees some problems. It'll be fun to see. And then the last one, the biggest trade that we saw just the last couple of days ago, still being finalized, I believe, but it's a done deal. Nolan Arenado is leaving Colorado, heading to St. Louis. That is huge. His name has been on the market for a while. Everybody thought he was kind of sticking around in Colorado. Now he goes to St. Louis. St. Louis, I think that makes them obviously a contender right away. They're always a contender. St. Louis is always right in the mix of things. That kid's going to do well. That's a name I would have loved to see in New York. I know a lot of us were hoping maybe Arenado would find his way to New York at some point. But that pretty much sums it up. The Yankees, I think we're gonna have a good season. I'm looking forward to where we're at. I like some of the signings we made. I'll be the first to tell you I'm concerned about the pitching. This is the first time you kind of see the Yankees kind of load up on the pitching a little bit. I think they always try to, but this year they got some formidable names, but big injury issues, big injury risk. So, will they stay healthy? That's the $1 million question. Brian Cashman hopes so. The Yankees hope so. They've done their due diligence. They say they've seen these guys throw. They watched them throw. They've done their homework. Now, whether or not they, the body works in weird ways. So if they hold up and they pitch like they're capable of, we got a very strong rotation. If they don't, we're in trouble again, like usual with a lot of teams. Pitching is always everybody's Achilles heel. So we'll see. So do me a favor, drop any comments you want in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what we want to talk about. We'll do this again. I mean, we're going to shoot maybe once a month, maybe once a week, depending, how things go and what kind of activity we got going on. As the season starts, we'll do maybe more of these because there'll be more to talk about. But let me know what you think. Jump onto my YouTube page, Instagram. We have Instagram, we have YouTube. We also have Twitter. I'll post all that information out there. A lot of it's already out there. Help me out. We're looking for sponsors as well. If anybody wants to sponsor the next Pags and Pinstripe podcast, we'll throw your logo on here. We'll plaster it over Facebook. We'll plaster it over social media. We appreciate it. Not looking to get rich here. Just looking for a couple bucks to help kind of move the podcast forward. So Pags and Pinstripes, first episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you Yankee fans for Yankees baseball sooner than later. Thanks. Have a good night.